Talking about the potential of the emerging markets, the region of Southeast Europe has really developing rapidly for the past years. And one of the reasons for this to happen is that lots of the best performing global companies, they have launched their offices in countries around, in Romania, Bulgaria. We will see the growth of the IT sector for the next couple of years, getting through periods of strong expansion, struggling and fighting with some issues, but succeeding to change the environment for better. Tihomir Cirkvencic, who leads the sales of IBM social business for Southeastern Europe, will walk us through the DNA of IT future. Tihomir, you're welcome at Webit stage.
Thank you. I hope you hear me well. So it's definitely my pleasure to be here in Sofia again. So it's one of the cities here in the region that I'm covering that I'm always very glad to return back to. So my name is Tihomir Cirkvencic, and by my accent you can maybe notice that I'm not far away from here. I'm coming from Zagreb, from Croatia. We are almost neighbors, only Serbia between us. So today I'm here just in the next couple of minutes to share some of the thoughts about the future of IT and something about the strategy of how IBM actually looks at it. So if we just take one moment and think of all that we have right now in the IT, of how the IT has changed our lives. We can actually make presumption that what we have today, it was future maybe a couple of years ago. So in a couple of years ago, it was really hard to predict all of this explosion of the social, explosion of the internet, and the explosion of the mobile world, with all of these applications and things that are going around us. So all of this that we actually have today has very strong basis in the years before. It didn't just came like that from nothing. So it didn't came that we have so many people now using the internet, using their mobile phones, being on the social stuff like that. So if we think what were those base things that were happening in the last 20, 30 years, we can maybe came up that it was very important that it was the era in the 80s and 90s when the PCs came out, especially in the 90s when the PC became the part of the everyone household, and the PC came to every working desk. Also, if we are thinking about the IT literacy, so now the IT is taught in the faculty, even in elementary school. So my boy is learning my son is learning the IT even in elementary school from the very, very early ages. All this didn't happen, it wasn't present in the past. So all of this was like the prerequisites of all that we actually have today. So there is a sense that what will come to the future also has some roots in our present. So it has some root actually right now. So if we want to make some good strategy for tomorrow, we have to make even some investments. We have to think about the strategy and the things that we will do, invest and spend time on actually right now. So if we are just thinking what would be the base, some of these basic elements that would be the DNA like in genetics, DNA of our future. There are a couple of them, and the IBM is at the moment looking at having very strong in its strategy the 4 of them. One of them is definitely the mobile. So we all know, we all heard about the crazy statistics about the mobile. So we know that mobile devices have more shipment than the PCs and notebooks for the last 2 years. So it happened in the second quarter of 2012 that there's more mobile and tablet devices were shipped than the PCs and notebooks. Also, now the half of the subscriptions for the new mobile device in major markets like in Europe and in US are now for the smartphone devices. So there's lots of statistics going around the mobile. One that I can recognize myself in, and one that I really like the most, is that 90% of the people having their mobile device 100% of the time in the reach of their hand. So perhaps in this room, especially in this room, on this conference, I think there are lots of people who can recognize themselves in these statistics. Is it good or bad? I mean, we are not here to judge that, but this is really the fact. The fact is that this mobile thing is really changing the way how we are living. It's changing actually the way how we are doing the business. Now we are all talking about the mobile device, mobile applications. We are talking about how the customers can reach and do transactions with us through its mobile device. Actually, one of the best examples so far I had about how the mobile is changing the world and the way how we are living actually happened to me yesterday. I was coming earlier to the Sofia just to finish my presentation, and it was a beautiful weather in Sofia, so I took a walk. So I can always do the presentation thing later in the evening. So I took a walk from my hotel to the Vitosha Street, and at the beginning of the Vitosha Street there is an excellent pizza cut. So it's really big pizza cut. You can eat it for a couple of days. So it's and while I was eating the pizza, I saw one teenage guy. It was maybe not teenage, it was like 18, 19 years old. And he was using his mobile in one strange way. So I just noticed him by accident. So the thing is that this guy was deaf, so he couldn't hear, and he couldn't talk. So he was using the sign language. So obviously he was talking with somebody on the other side over the some video conference call or something. I don't know. I noticed it was the Android mobile device, and perhaps some Skype or something was on it. So, I mean, if you can just think, was it possible like 2-3 years ago? I mean, for this guy, it was calling from the street somebody else, talking, communicate with somebody else was probably totally impossible. And yeah, at the end he was sending the kisses. He was sending the kisses, so I do not know sign language, but I recognized when he was like sending the kisses and saying kind of the hello to the other side. So he was able to communicate to his, I don't know, girlfriend or mother or somebody. So it's really one of the beautiful examples of how the mobile is changing our world, the way how we are living. Next thing, social. Okay, we have crazy statistics about the mobile. So regarding the social, it's even the craziest statistics. I'm not going to repeat any of this. I'm sure today you will hear a lot about the crazy numbers about the social. But for sure, when we are looking at the social, how we can use it in a business, there are actually 3 ways how to use it. So one is by a push method. So we are using it as a PR channel, right, like a marketing channel, like a sales channel. So we are publishing some of our content on the social media, trying to sell something, trying to promote something. There's also pull method with the social. So when we are listening to our customer, and it's important to listen to the customer to make some better relationship with this customer. And also there is a third aspect of the social in the business, and that is the using of the social tools inside the enterprise. So there is one growing market at the moment, and that is about, so actually yes, it exists. Even IBM has some tools. It's called IBM Connections. These are the tools that the enterprise can install for themselves inside the house, and get all of these benefits, or most of the benefits that actually exist on the social network outside, on some social media. For example, there is a enterprise wiki, so people can use in-house wiki. There is enterprise blogs. There are like 20 different modules that people can use inside of the house that is basically based on all of this social media that we know from outside. So it's, for the most people, it's really easy to adopt it and use it for the everyday work. And why it's important? Because there is obviously something good with all of this social thing that is going out there. So otherwise those statistics will not be so crazy. So basically, it means that people obviously do want to connect this way like they're doing it on the social media. They want to share some information about themselves. They want to share, okay, outside the world it's the pictures and some cute different things that they're doing on the social. But inside, imagine that you can use all of this model, all of this paradigm of social media and incorporate it in some way inside of your enterprise. What benefit would be for the employees? Also, the third building block is a cloud. Cloud At the moment, about 60% of the enterprises in the world are using at least some elements of the cloud. It was 40% the year before. So it's actually a very strong growing trend around this. And we will expect more. We all know, we are all talking about cloud. There is also one thing that for the first, as cloud started there, and I know I remember as many years as we have been talking about cloud, and there was lots of expectation, and maybe still it's not grabbing as much as we would like it. But definitely one thing to think about when you think about a cloud, it's not just about cutting the cost. Cutting the cost could be present in your strategy if you're going to the cloud, but it's not the only thing. Sometimes it can be even more expensive for you to go with some services into the cloud. But what actually should you think when you are deciding go or not to the cloud is actually the other things like accessibility, like flexibility, and these things that actually are engine of your growth of your business. For example, if you are a startup, I mean, we can imagine the startup, so the couple of guys are starting some new company. Is there a first thought about how to buy a new server for the company? I guess not. I mean, I'm coming from the company which is also selling some servers and some hardware as well. But basically, it's not what's happening right now. So some new businesses are thinking in a way more of the cloud than having things on premises and investing in that area. And also here's the analytics. So both the mobile, both the social, they are actually producing the huge amount of data. So in IBM, we're calling it that data is a new natural resource. And that's basically, that's true. I mean, the data is all around us. What is actually the biggest challenge at the moment is actually how to, from this big amount of data, to find some insights, how to find some meaningful information out of that. And that is where the analytics is going to be more and more important in the years to come. All those four, so any of these four, so either cloud or either mobile, is disruptive enough to make some change in your business by itself. But what really is going to happen in the near future is that these four things will converge to one. And so this is actually what is expected to be the next big thing in IT. So when all of these four converge to one in your business and putting it in a function to bring the more business value for you, for your customers, then it's going to really the magic is going to happen. So there are many tries, even today, with the companies, big companies who are trying actually to combine these four, so either cloud with the social, cloud, mobile, social, analytics, this kind of thing. So, and this is like predictions are saying that this is going to be more change with all of this that come than what we had in IT in the last 20 years. So, at the ending point is basically if you are about the future. So if you want to still work in the future, if you want to be successful in the future, it's basically how you will set up your strategy today. Leaving those four things from your strategy, from your IT strategy today, is not something that would be bright future, that will bring the bright future for you. So this is also something that IBM has put very high in its all strategy or initiatives. We will hear from the years to come more and more from the IBM on almost every presentation that IBM will bring about these four things. We even have the acronym for this. We call it CAMS, so C-A-M-S, and cloud, analytics, mobile, and social. So basically that's what I wanted to share with you today. I will also be on the next session now in digital, so if somebody wants to join me there, I would be really glad. I will also be here for the whole day, for the whole of your sessions, for the whole day, for all of your questions. So if you have any question now, maybe I can answer it right now. Yes, no? So thank you. Thank you very much.
No, I have a question.
One question.
Sorry.
Just one question, please.
One question, and you can go. Okay, so when I was listening to you about the importance of social media and the social, technology using in our social life, I was thinking about, of course, Google Glass. And we're reading a lot of articles right now because Google Glass are not quite popular here in Southeastern Europe yet. But of course, we want to have the opportunity to buy Google Glass soon. So what do you think about the violence against people who wear Google Glass? And because when you were talking about the deaf children and the deaf guy or teenager, yes, I was thinking that here in Eastern Europe, we are, of course, here not in this room, but there's quite a lot of people who are not so open-minded. And what could be the right way to implement this kind of technology in our lives without actually getting this kind of violent treatment from others? Like it happens in the USA. It's not in Bulgaria, but you know probably the few cases of violence against people who wear Google Glass, and why do you think this is actually happening and provoked by what?
Okay, so I'm not from Google, so I cannot comment too much about the Google Glasses. I can only say that I would like to try one. I would like to buy it, I would like to try it, I would really try to find some scenarios that would work for me, especially in some business area. Maybe there are some good scenarios for using the Google Glass. I'm sure there are. Google didn't do it just for the sake of the fun. There are many concerns regarding the social, not just regarding the Google Glass. It's also, it's about the privacy. So privacy in our world today, which is a social, which is so transparent, it's really problematic thing. So it's, there are many topics we can start discussing about right now regarding the privacy and everything. But definitely, while you mentioned Google Glasses, it's that more and more of these wearables, it's called wearables, this different kind of the sensors and the devices and for the fitness and stuff like that will actually be present on the market in the next years. It's one of the biggest trends at the moment in this consumable IT area. And I'm sure we cannot avoid it. We will not be able to avoid it. There are even predictions that by the 2020, each human being will produce 5 terabytes of data, which is really, this is a lot. All of this data will come not just from the mobile, not just from our presence from the social media. This data will also will come from the different kind of the sensors, Google Glasses, from the different devices, these wearables that we'll be wearing. So, like I said, I'm sure we will not be able to avoid it. We can just try to somehow embrace it and try to find the best usage of it and using it smart. So, does this answer your question?
Kind of.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Tihomir, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.